Thank you very much. What I was told to speak on today was the issues, the core issues of the Palestine-Israel conflict. Today's session is primarily introductory. Tomorrow's activities are really about organizing, about boycotts, about global solidarity, about the resistance. So tomorrow I will also talk about popular resistance. But today I'm focusing on one subject, and that is the issues of Palestine, because some of you may know this, and I'm sorry if some of you already know some of this information, but some of you may not know some of the information. And I think as activists, we need to always speak facts. Yes, it's good to have emotions, it's good to be sympathetic to suffering Palestinians in Gaza, but really we have to also know the facts of what the situation is. For geographical purposes, I just put this map that shows that Palestine is the western end of the Fertile Crescent. This is the map of Palestine. It's a geographic area that is the center of civilization as it spread from East Africa to the rest of the world. We Palestinians, our ancestors, are Canaanitic people who are depicted in both drawings by Mesopotamian people and also by Egyptian people in their drawings of thousands of years ago. And in fact, we still dress the same way. The same dresses are worn by our ancestors, the Canaanitic people, as by our ancestors today in the last 100 years. Of course, now we wear ties and Western clothing. But this area is also the center where first agriculture developed. When people in India are planting vegetables, they are using the techniques that were developed in Palestine, because the first villages and towns were developed there. The most ancient developments, the first domestication of animals like sheep, goats, donkeys, and the first domestication of plants like wheat, barley, and lentils happened in Palestine. Palestine is a rich country, it's not a poor country, and it is not a country that's about war and conflict only. We have a very beautiful country, and we really love our country as you do yours, and everybody on earth does love their country. Palestine is also the center where religions were established, especially the monotheistic religions. Christianity, Judaism, Islam were spread through Palestine to the rest of the world. And we have all religions represented in Palestine, of all people. And I know people in Palestine who are Hindu, who are Buddhist, who are Muslim, who are Christian, who are Jewish, who are Muslims. The majority of people in Palestine are Muslim. This is a fact. And but we also have Samaritans, we have Druze, we have other, and we've lived in harmony, as you heard before. The problem in Palestine is not really a problem of Palestine. It is a problem that started in Europe, as you know, with discrimination against Jews in Europe. And as usual, when people are discriminated against, when they are punished, there's two responses to this. One is fight and one is flight. In America also, by the way, the black Americans, some of them chose to go and leave America because they could not live with white people, and go to Africa and set up a country called Liberia. You may have heard about that. Also in Europe, but also some blacks in America, like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and others, fought against discrimination. So those are the two responses. You either fight discrimination or you leave it, you run away. And the Jews in Europe also had the same choices. Some of them fought against discrimination, and the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising is a good example of this, an intifada of the ghetto, if you want. And some of them chose to leave Europe and go to Palestine. The problem is that Palestine had already people there. When they sent two rabbis to Palestine to study it, the two rabbis sent a telegram back to Vienna, to the headquarters of the Zionist organization, in the late 19th century. And the telegram simply said, "The bride is beautiful, but she is married to another man." Meaning that Palestine is wonderful for a Jewish state, but there are people here. The early Zionists wanted to replace the discrimination in Europe like this with this image of strength and power and might. And this strength and power and might and use of military was introduced to the Middle East by these Zionists. Terrorism was introduced by these Zionists to drive us out of our land. This is my village, Beit Sahur. It's a shepherd's field. My family is Palestinian Christian, by the way. You can see the church I was baptized in on the right, the mosque right next to it. Christians, Muslims, and yes, native Jews lived in harmony for hundreds of years. My grandfather's friend in school was Jewish, as were the Muslims, as were everybody else. We lived in harmony. The problem originated by Zionism, because my village is actually a lucky village in that it still stands. We lost only 195 houses demolished. But there are villages like this one in the Galilee which was completely destroyed. 530 villages and towns you can see on this map that were wiped out when the State of Israel was founded between January 1948 and the end of 1949, creating the largest post-World War II ethnic cleansing in history, still the largest remaining refugee population, by the way, in the world is Palestinians. These people, like you heard from Bida earlier, a refugee who lives in Lebanon, her family is from Akka. That's where they belong. That's Palestine. That is not the West Bank and Gaza. That is Palestine. It's those 530 villages that were destroyed. Palestinians were literally pushed into the sea. You can see the picture on the lower left-hand corner. We were pushed into the sea. And